What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have 7 things about my British flat I don't understand. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is smash that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Without further ado, let's dive right in.
Hi everyone, it's me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alana and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the past 6 years. And over those 6 years, I've lived in a variety of different homes and different flats. So today, I'm going to share some of the things about my British flat that I just don't understand. If you like this video and you want to see more videos of what it's truly like being a foreigner living in the UK, please consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's go. Let's talk about the bathroom light cord. One of the first things I noticed here in the UK after moving here is that the bathrooms are a little bit different, and one of the ways is the light cord. So here in the UK, I have had bathrooms in my home that either have a light switch on the outside of the bathroom or they have a pull cord on the inside of the bathroom for the light. Now, if I had to choose, I prefer the cord because there are few things more vulnerable than being in the bathroom and someone turns off the light from outside the door. It's terrible. It happens.
That is awful.
I hate it. Now, for my limited understanding, it is due to the voltage. So in the US, the voltage is 120. What's it in the UK? 240. So of course you don't want to have a light switch inside the bathroom that you could touch with wet hands. So they have that at the outside of the door, or you have a cord that you can pull. Whenever I bring this up, I always get comments from people being like, yeah, well, you don't want to get electrocuted, do you? No, but that doesn't happen in North America. No. We have our light switches in the bathroom. It's not an issue. It's not a health and safety thing because the voltage is so much less. And no, I've never been electrocuted in Canada having a light switch inside the bathroom. So you can stop emailing me about it. While we are talking about bathrooms.
That one, I'd rather have my light switch inside the bathroom. I'm going to agree with her on this one. I'd rather than the outside because you are at the vulnerability and of whoever is outside. So just give me my bathroom light on the inside. Make life a lot easier for me. I don't know anyone who's ever been electrocuted by a bathroom light in the US, but I mean there's probably has been at least one, I'd assume, but I just ain't never heard of. It's never happened to me, so keep it on the inside.
I would also like to talk about outlets. So for a similar reason, you are not going to find a traditional power outlet in the bathroom because you don't want to get electrocuted. Now in Canada and the US, this is not an issue, and oftentimes you can have a bathroom with multiple outlets. More outlets than you'd ever need in the bathroom. But of course, it is not an issue in terms of getting electrocuted. Here it is a bit different. So you will not find a traditional plug-in outlet. You may find what they call a razor socket or a razor outlet. The prongs are different and it has less power. Currently in this flat, we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that. In previous flats,
that's a nice size bathtub. Oh my God. That's a nice size bathtub. That's something your boy can soak in. Your boy can enjoy. Hold up.
Outlet. But in this current one, we have no outlets, no razor sockets in any of the bathrooms. So for all the Canadians and Americans watching, it's just kind of assumed that there's going to be an outlet there because that's what we're used to in our respective countries. There's almost always an outlet, but you won't find them here. So my first question was, well, if I need to blow dry my hair is so thick, I gotta blow dry it at least a little bit. Otherwise, it will never dry. You can't blow dry your hair in the bathroom. You also can't charge your toothbrush in the bathroom. They need to be done someplace else. So thankfully here, the bedroom is very close to the main bathroom, so you can just do that stuff in the bedroom. I have lived in a house where the bedrooms were upstairs and the only bathroom was downstairs. So to charge my toothbrush, I actually had it in the kitchen because that was like the only spot that was close to the bathroom.
Makes sense.
Otherwise, you've got it like on the floor in the hallway charging your toothbrush, because it was just, there was no other spot for it. So I totally get why we have pull cords, why we have outlets outside the bathroom, and why we have light switches outside of the bathroom. It's just something that you kind of got to get used to, but there's no changing it. Now, something very particular.
Okay, that makes sense though. Compared to the U.S. or Canada, you guys have double the voltage amount, so there's more of an opportunity to be shocked with these things inside of the bathroom. So for safety purposes and reasons, they have to be put outside of the bathroom. So I can't judge because I don't want none of you guys to be getting electrocuted or shocked or any of that either. So as long as the voltage is that high, keep them out of the bathrooms.
To this flat that I absolutely love, and I call it the pooping window. Yes.
What you talking
now this
about?
flat has 3 bathrooms, which are completely unnecessary. And yes, I say bathroom. I shouldn't. I realize that. We have 3 toilets. How about that? We have 3 loos, and none of the windows are frosted. It's not my fault. Take it up with the landlord. Now, in particular, what I would consider our sort of main large bathroom, and it is a bathroom because it does have a bathtub, has this gorgeous, huge window that is not frosted. And because it is so low set in the wall, it's so big, the bottom of the window pane is actually below the toilet, so you can very happily sit on the toilet with the blind up, just looking out upon the world. And let me tell you, everybody's going to be looking upon you as well.
That's crazy.
Now, obviously,
that's
this
crazy.
isn't common in British homes. This is the first flat that I've lived in that has had this particular quirk. But it definitely makes me laugh. Now, if you do find yourself in a similar situation that you have unfrosted windows for whatever reason, you can buy stickies online. You can get them on Amazon that you stick them onto the window panes and they're frosted to like certain levels. You can buy different types of ones. We haven't done that just because they're so ugly, but it is a possibility. Next up, things about British.
I was gonna say, is it a blind that you can bring down and put attached to the window? And because I don't like the people being able to see me doing my thing. But she said that's not common in British homes. That's the first one flat that she's had it in, and they lived in a couple different ones. But I wouldn't necessarily enjoy that. That's all I'll say. I wouldn't necessarily enjoy that.
Flats that I am still very much learning about. I want to talk about radiators. So I have had, I would say, 3 separate types of radiator systems since living here in the UK. As a Canadian, and Americans will have the same issue, radiators are really not a thing. Most homes have like central air or central heating, where there are little grates on the floor, so cold air can come out, or hot air in the wintertime. So they're like these little vents on the floor. So
mines are on the ceiling. And I feel like most of the places that I've lived in, they've been on the ceiling. I have seen places where they've been on the floor. Most places I lived in, they're on the ceiling here in the U.S., those vents.
Here, of course, radiators is like the main system. And I've had 3 different types so far. So in one home, I had, your classic wall radiator. But the only way to control the heating, so I don't know the words, and I'm not going to say the right words, okay? Please forgive me. You had to like change the, there's like a nozzle on the heater, like the boiler or whatever. And you could make it hotter or colder, but you couldn't, there wasn't like a value to that number. It was just like, do you need it hotter? Do you need it colder? The issue with that is oftentimes I'd be sitting on the couch and all of a sudden I'd be like, it is so hot. You don't notice it right away, right? Because it's just like a gradual thing. And then all of a sudden you're just like, I am just sweating. So you dial down the radiators, but then perhaps you dial it down too much. and a couple hours go by and you realize, oh my God, I'm so cold. So it was kind of a bit tricky finding the balance on what was too hot, what was too cold.
Yeah.
But that was my first experience with radiators. Then I had a flat that had a combination of radiators. So we had electric heaters or electric radiators. I'm not sure if you call them radiators. Anyway, the electric ones, which were basically a unit on the wall that you could turn off and on. And when you turn it on, give it a couple of minutes and it would be hot and it would be giving off hot air. From my understanding, those are very expensive to run. So we tried not to use those ones and use the other radiators in the flat that were storage heaters, which I've mentioned before and I don't fully understand. But from my limited knowledge, they heat up overnight, they store that hot air, and then during the day you can decide how much comes out or how little. Now, if you have a lot of hot air come out, it may run out by the late afternoon, evening. You got to be careful with those ones. Either way, it was very much like a balancing act. We had the electric ones that we really tried not to use. So we were using the storage ones, but they're a little bit like tricky. So anyway, moving on. Here in this...
It shouldn't be that hard to get heating. It should not be this difficult. I like the idea of radiators in the sense of they're in different rooms. So yes, we have central heating here, but you don't have to heat the entire house with these radiators, right? Maybe you got a radiator in the room, radiator in the living room, radiator in the kitchen. I don't know where all y'all got radiators. But let's say for me and my wife, we love rooms being... We are complete opposite when it comes to what we like the temperature at. I literally walk around in sweats and a hoodie all day inside of my house because she keeps it at 60. And that is legit freezing. When I lived alone, it never went below 70. It never went below 70. And so we are completely different. She is 60 degrees and she's t-shirt and shorts. No, just walking around t-shirt, shorts, no socks. She's fine. She's completely fine. If I take this hoodie off, I'll die. Absolutely die. So we're completely different. So I feel like radiators would be cooler in the sense of, okay, we can heat this room up for me and we can keep this room cool for her. That way we both get the temperatures that we enjoy. But if the radiator is this difficult to work, I don't know. Central heating is usually easy. You just put it down to the temperature you want the house to be at, and it makes the house that. And once the house reaches that temperature, it turns off. If the house goes above or below that temperature, it'll pop back on to make sure it's that temperature.
This flat, we have a third system, which is my favorite system. I love it. It's just so much easier. We have a thermostat. I know, I'm so excited. So we have radiators in various rooms, in various locations, and they can be controlled by a thermostat that actually gives a numerical value for the temperature, so you can actually see. Now, the sensor for that number is in a particular part of the house that can be a bit drafty, so you kind of have to take the number with a grain of salt, but at least you get a general idea of what the overall temperature is, so you can set programs. Maybe you have it come on at a certain time or go off at a certain time, or if it dips below a certain number, have it come on, or have it make sure it doesn't come on during these hours. There's just way more customization and it's much more specific, which I love. I know, I'm sitting here ranting and raving about a thermostat and how much I love it. Another thing with radiators that takes a little bit of getting used to is furniture layout. So obviously you can't have a bookshelf pushed up against a radiator, or a dresser, or an end table. You know, like furniture can't really be pushed up blocking a radiator. You don't want stuff touching a radiator. So layout is a little bit tricky. With my fellow Canadians and Americans, with the vents on the floor, obviously you don't really want to cover the vents, but they're so small that it's not as big of an issue. So overall,
I see what you're saying.
Radiators, I'm starting to warm up to radiators. I love the thermostat system. I hope the next place we live has one of them because it makes life so much easier. Another thing
That
about
would be, as long as you got the thermostats, that makes, yeah, like she said, that would make the radiators a lot easier than having to figure it out by twisting and doing it this much. Okay, let's see how the room, doing it this, and then having to remember everything, exactly how far to turn it, exactly when to, yeah, it'd be a lot better just give me that thermostat so I can see the number. It would make life a lot easier.
my British flat that I don't really understand, we do not have one single closet.
Oh, got
Not
the
one.
wardrobe.
Now, when I talk about closet, some Brits ask, what do you mean by that? A closet, for all my North American buddies watching, is a built-in element to your home that has a door for the purpose of storage. So I think some Brits would probably refer to that as like a built-in wardrobe, perhaps. Doesn't have to be for clothes, but it is a built-in element in the house, in the flat, for storage. And here, in this wonderful flat that I really truly do love, we don't have a single closet. So on one hand, you think, okay, well, it's a good reason to get rid of stuff that you don't need, right? Purge all the crap that you've accumulated. You don't need it. There's no storage. Get rid of it. But on the other hand, what do you do with your Christmas tree? What do you do with your suitcases?
Oh,
As a
there's
foreigner
no
who
storage?
moved to the UK, let me tell you, I got some real big suitcases. What do you do with them? What do you do with your winter coat in the summertime? What do you do with your off-season clothes? What do you do with all the stuff that you need but not always? So that is one of the things that I have had to overcome here in the UK. It is so ingrained in properties in North America to have closets. The homes are built to have closets. You need storage. So it's not something that I ever really thought about, but definitely touring this flat as much as I love it. We don't have any closets. We do not have a basement, and we do not have a loft or an attic for all my North Americans. We don't have any of that.
Dang.
So where do we put all of our stuff? Well, we certainly had to buy a lot of storage bits. This cabinet, IKEA, it's kind of wonky and it's not level, but we had to buy this for storage. We had to buy more dressers, and for all of our big stuff that we can't fit in a dresser, like my giant suitcases or our Christmas decorations or our Christmas tree, we have what I call a dumping ground. When you come up one of these sets of stairs, behind you is like sort of a platform, but there's nothing back there. It's just kind of like space. So literally we dump all of our stuff back there. I'm not going to show you because it's an absolute mess. So Christmas decorations, Christmas tree, wrapping paper, suitcases, tools, memento boxes of like little trinkets and stuff. All of that stuff is just sort of thrown in that space. It's ugly, but it at least is out of the way. And we don't really have any other option otherwise. So that's fun. In North America, you're much more likely to have a handful of closets. You're also pretty likely to have a basement, a fully functional, like built-out basement, which a lot of people use for storage for the odds and end bits and pieces. That's, you know, a good spot in the basement. Of course, we don't have a basement. We don't have an attic. We don't have any closets. What are you gonna do?
We have 4 closets. In the house, and we have an attic. That's a good point she brings up, because we live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Me and my wife, we're about to have a child, so we were looking at getting into a 3-bedroom soon, something that the child could grow into. But the 3-bedroom that we really liked, we really thought it was nice, and then we were on the verge of buying it. Then we suddenly thought, it doesn't have any storage space. It has the closets, but we use closets for our clothes. Our garage, it didn't come with the garage like our apartment does now, and it doesn't come with an attic like our apartment does now. So there's no room for us to store like the Christmas trees. There's no room to store. She loves decorating for each season. There's no room to store these decorations when she's not using them. So, and then with the child, we figured we're going to need a lot of storage space for his stuff, and There's no garage, there's no attic, there's nowhere to store a lot of this stuff, and so that storage problem ended up being the reason that we didn't move and we stayed in the apartment that we're in right now. At the moment, we're gonna look again once he's about 8 to 9 months old. We figure we'll check out and see if we can get a 3 bedroom with a garage or something, somewhere we can store all these things at. And so her talking about that, yeah, that brings up a lot of questions here for me as an American, because storage space is so important to me. Like it's an absolute necessity. And so, what do you guys? I'm intrigued to hear from you guys though. Like, where do you store stuff? Do you like she did buy like certain IKEA things? I know you guys. Some of you guys buy wardrobes and everything for clothes, but like Christmas trees and things that you accumulate over the years, do you just continue to like throw it away? Where do you store it? I love to hear it.
Another thing about my British flat that I struggle with is our baby fridge. Now, in all the homes that I've been in, the fridges are just smaller here in the UK. And I have a theory. I don't know if it's true, but I have a theory. In Canada, if I want to go to the closest supermarket, it is like 20-minute drive each way. So if you need to pick up a couple of things from the shop, it is going to be 40 minutes to drive. Which is kind of a long way. Now here in the UK, ridiculous. Things are closer together. Going to the shop is so much easier. So having a small fridge isn't really the end of the world, because you can top it up pretty easily. Whereas in Canada, in the US, if you got to drive to the shop constantly, it's really not helpful. And you're using a lot of gas. Or petrol, sorry. I will say, though, anytime I bring up the fact that North Americans have bigger fridges, I always get comments from Brits saying that's because they're fat and you guys eat too much. That's really not helpful.
I knew it.
Please get a hobby, all right? We're talking about the logistics of fridges, not about an obesity crisis. Thank you. Now, if I were to ever buy a house in the UK, wouldn't that be exciting? What a great video that would make. I would like to have just a slightly smaller, not smaller, slightly larger fridge. Here, in particular, love the flat. It's a great place. The fridge, you cannot stand up one of the, the large milk containers. Does not fit. Also, any open bottle of wine or champagne or something fancy doesn't fit. So, when we go grocery shopping, same with like large bottles of pop, doesn't fit. So you have to be very specific. Like we can only buy milk in these smaller pints, because I've bought a larger pint, we had to lay it on its side, and then leaks. It doesn't fit in the door. It doesn't fit in the shelf upright. It's just, the fridge is too small. So we have to be very specific about things that we buy and things that we open. If you open, a bottle of wine, some white wine you want to put in the fridge, sorry, it doesn't fit. So you gotta drink it all in one. Next up, I would like to talk about...
So is there a way, in our fridge is also like you can adjust like the platforms. So maybe you could, I can't fit that big bottle or can't fit that gallon of milk on this platform. But if I move it and adjust it 2 spaces up, then it now fits in there. So you can adjust it to figure out like how you want stuff. But that I knew the Americans being fat comment was gonna come, but she didn't even have to say it. I 100% knew that was gonna come. So but yeah, the logistics of a fridge, you just want plenty of space. I want options. I want a lot of options. Drinks, food, I need options. My wife even wanted to like a deep freezer outside of our fridge, and I'm like, I don't think we need that much space. She was like, to store like a surplus of meat, and I was like, well, the shop's like 5 minutes away from us. It's not. If it was a 20-minute drive, then I'd be more like, all right, we need to stock up. But it's 5-minute drive. We can go to the store at any day, at any time. So like, why do we need to stock up like that? We just keep going to the store. That's how I see things. She likes to stock up. That's not me. I think things are going to end up going to waste if you have too much. But, yeah. So definitely, a British flat is definitely a lot different than an American apartment. I'll say that 100%.
The windows. So here in the UK versus
I've
North
seen
America,
the
windows are a
windows.
little bit different. The first visual difference is that windows in North America will have a screen on
Yeah.
them. So when you
No
open
bugs.
said window, there will be like, a mesh screen. It really helps with bugs or flies or bees. That's quite helpful. Here in the UK, all of the flats in the homes that I've lived in do not have these screens. So when you have the windows open, especially in the summertime, because we don't have air conditioning, you got the windows open, all of the bugs come in. Bumblebees get lost in here, flies get lost in here. Thankfully, there are less mosquitoes here. In Canada, you can't live without a screen. All the mosquitoes are coming in. Here in the UK, not so much of a deal, but we do have bugs that come in. So visually, the first thing you notice, there's no screens, which is nice from like an aesthetic point of view, because here, I can look out the window, I can open the window
I feel that.
all the way. I can look out the window and there's no screen obscuring your view. It's just very open. It's quite nice. Thankfully, there are less bugs here as well. You're going to get the odd bee, I'm telling you now. But it's nice looking out the window and you've got no screen. When I first moved here, it really was like, what? It really surprised me. Because like from a health and safety, I guess it's health and safety. North America, we just have screens. But here they don't care. You're probably not going to have a screen. None of these windows have screens. None of the flats and homes that I've lived in have had screens. So on one hand, visually, it looks nice looking out the window. From a more practical sense, you are going to get bugs coming in, which you're just going to have to deal with. Saying that though, in this particular flat, we have sash windows. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but we have the windows that open from top to bottom. So there's like two separate panes or whatever. And you can pull the top one down and up, and you can pull the bottom one up and down. Which I've never seen before. Not a thing I've seen in Canada. So
that is very cool.
Ideally, it's really nice in the summertime. You can get them both, so the air circulation is really nice. Because again, here you are not going to have air conditioning at home. That took me many years to get acclimatized.
Yeah, our windows don't do that. You can only pull the bottom part up. The top is usually stuck into place. And I've also seen in like different British flats where you can like open the windows like outwards. You don't have to pull them up, but you open them outwards. And also you can set it to where it like tilts. It has just that little top part. It's amazing. Like y'all, I will say y'all's windows, the way they operate, are legit way cooler than ours. I don't ever use my window really, but we do need that bug screen because bugs find their way into our houses and we don't need to open up the windows. So I imagine if we open up the windows, it'd be an apocalypse of bugs inside of our place. But yeah, y'all's windows are definitely pretty dope.
Too, and even now I still struggle, especially sleeping in the summertime. It's tough. But with these sash windows, you can get decent air circulation where like air's coming in and out. I think it comes in from the top and out, in from the bottom, out through the top. I don't know. Anyway, it's great and it's different and it's nice. But no screens and no aircon either. Realistically, just a personal opinion. I do not mean offense. There's probably people that are already offended in the comments. I mean no offense. Realistically, I think homes in North America on average are more comfortable. They are typically bigger. They typically have a basement. You're more likely to have a basement. You're more likely to have a pretty decent backyard. You're more likely to have a driveway. You may even have a pool. Like that stuff is possible for a reasonable price in North America. There's just more space and homes are built in a different way. You're gonna have closets. They're designed in a way that is quite comfortable. However, homes here in the UK have history and they have character, which you can't manufacture. Does that make sense? This particular flat is older than Canada's flag. Think about that for a second. This building has been around for hundreds of years.
That's awesome.
And I have never lived in such an old and historic place. You don't even have that option in North America. It's not going to happen. So it is a trade-off. You get the history, you get the uniqueness, you get the character with homes here in the UK. But with that, you do sacrifice some of the comforts that you would be granted in North America.
I understand
It's just the way it is. It's a trade-off. You have to decide which one is more important to you. If you'd like to see more content about life here in the UK, check out this video where I filmed a day in my life here in this flat. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!
I completely understand where she's coming from on that, and I'm probably gonna be in agreement with her. I've never been in a flat in the UK, but from kind of looking around at hers and the way that she portrayed it, it does seem like here in America they are a little bit bigger. Do come with the storage space. Things are a little bit bigger, but yes, you cannot buy that kind of history that you can live in a flat that's that old, a building that's been around that long. Like, that's really cool environment to be in. Let me know what you guys think though. American flat, British flat, which one I get? Listening to her kind of do a comparison of the two. Well, not American, but North American, British. Which would you prefer? Which would you prefer and why? Give me some valid reasons. That's all we have. If you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the next one. I'll see you guys next time.